Guys, Johnny Galt with Iron Lotus Tattoo in Boulder, Colorado. Got another video here for you guys, and today I'm going to be talking about what is the best tattoo ink? A very large question asked by so many people, and I get questions about this all the time on my Facebook and on the YouTube channel itself, and I'm really going to be specific and kind of open this up. This video is going to probably start a little bit of trouble, but I really don't care. Beforehand, I am going to start off with a little story here. There's been a lot of drama on Facebook and a lot of stories going around. A lot of artists are getting pretty aggressive with scratchers and home artists and stuff. And I've been asked my opinion a few times by quite a bit of people, including Tattoo.com and stuff. And I'm just going to kind of address it and be really open. A little story here and backdrop is that recently here in Boulder, I just quit freelancing at a shop. There was a lot of drama encompassing the situation, and I'm not even allowed to actually use names because there's a police investigation taking place because somebody committed a violent act. But to explain what's going on here, I was working in a shop, and these two people there claimed that they were nurses. They weren't currently nurses, but they claimed they were. And they not only owned this shop for about 16 years, but there was a large amount of clientele that trusted them, that trusted these owners. Well, I came in and started seeing a lot of issues, and I was not afraid to point them out because they were very serious issues. Now, let me explain something to you guys. If you're an artist in a shop, just because you're in a shop, that does not mean that you have the skill of some world-famous artist. It does not mean that you are a fucking rock star or some badass. Just because you work in a shop doesn't mean that tattoo owes you something, and it doesn't mean that, girls need to hit you up or you're better than any other artist that's a scratcher. Because I have a couple of scratchers on my Facebook page that are fucking phenomenal. But they work out of their homes because they don't like shops and they don't like assholes. Because the issue in tattooing right now is these young punks thinking that they're the shit. Now, to explain why shops can also be just as bad as scratchers is because this pack right here was autoclaved at that shop because I'm 100% disposable, but they forced me to go stainless while I was working there because disposable was bad for the environment. So I go stainless. And then when I get my packets out of the autoclave, it hadn't even changed all the way to dark gray or yellow. And it's signed by somebody else who worked there, who was basically one of their main artists, who was the shop manager, who claved this fucking thing, and it didn't even completely get cleaned. Because that autoclave can't maintain temperature or fucking pressure. And then this tube gets reused on somebody, and then reused on somebody else, and then reused on somebody else. And then the next thing you know, you have a shop spreading HIV, Hep C, or any communicable blood-borne pathogen to any person who walks through that shop's door. So do not ever assume or think that you are better than anyone just because you're in a shop. The only difference between a scratcher and someone working in a shop that's garbage is the guy that's garbage got $15,000, paid a tax license, and got a building to scratch out of. Okay? Now, with that being said, I'm going to move on to the video. Now, I've been seeing this question a lot, you guys, and a lot of you dudes have been really great on Facebook, hitting me up, and I've been able to help a lot of you dudes out, both really excellent artists, and there's this big guy named Ogre Joe, excellent fucking work, dude. He was way better than me, extremely high-level color blending and elite-level artist who saw my videos, and he really liked them. But this question right here is just a big one among tattoo artists, and I honestly think I have the right answer and the right explanation for basically everyone. The inks that are sitting in front of you right now are inks that I personally use. These are all brands that I use. Now, are they better than any other brand? They're better than some. I mean, like, Chinese knockoff ink is fucking Chinese knockoff ink, and it's trash. But the real question you need to ask yourself isn't, what is the best tattoo ink? The real question to ask yourself is, what is the best tattoo ink to use for my style of tattooing? That is the right question. I saw a video just recently from Keijiacha stating that Fusion was the best ink on the market and that Eternal was close to it. Well, let me explain something. Fusion and Eternal are the exact same fucking recipes for their inks. There's a lot of drama about that, but Fusion and Eternal actually share the exact same ink recipe. They're the same damn thing. So the real question you need to ask is, are you really tattooing good because of that ink, or is it because you actually know what you're doing and you're placing, you're building the color up correctly and you're placing it in the right place of the skin and you're not tearing somebody up? and then your client's not picking at it or drying it out or over slathering it with some fucking A&D or something. So the real question is, what is the best ink for me? Now, inks come in different thicknesses, different thinness. They have different densities. They have different color scales, different intensities, and you can get two of the same color from a specific brand, but they will have completely different intensities and color spectrums, and that's because the recipes will be different. Now, it's your job as an artist to seek out and find which inks work best for your style. People have asked me what inks I use for my traditional work, and the truth is, what I use for my traditional work is Radiant. I use Radiant colors for my traditional work because for my style of tattooing, and my brothers as well, my younger brother and I are both tattoo artists, and we have a very similar style. We love Radiant colors, man. Radiant is just the shit right now. They're kind of the dark horse as far as the ink game goes because they're kind of new. And they've just been putting out some amazing shit. I mean, their dark green is kind of garbage, but the rest of like their nugget, their teal, their blood red, you know, they have just got excellent Bowery colors, especially if they're trying to knocking out some, you know, some gorgeous traditional work. But the only thing is, this ink is very thick. Some of the Radiant colors are like toothpaste, and to kind of explain to you what's going on here, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Now I have an ink cap here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by it's like toothpaste. Now this is Radiant Red here, blood red to be specific. Little tip for you guys, if you're ever, you know, opening or closing your ink caps, it's easier to do it this way if you're opening your bottles, to put a paper towel over the tip. But pay close attention to this shit right here. Look at this fucking ink. Look at it. You look at it? It's not even spreading. That shit's like paste, man. Like literally like a giant tube of toothpaste. Now, because I have a very fast hand speed and my machines run extremely fast, what's kind of crazy is people have seen my some people have seen my settings while I'm tattooing. I don't really give my settings out, but my my color packer runs at around 230 to 280 cycles per second, which is basically faster than most people's liners. But that's the way I tattoo. That's how fast my hand speed is on my color packer. Now, because I have a fast hand speed, because this is a thicker ink, I'm going to make this ink work for me. I have a distilled water which has been sterilized right here, and I just put a few drops in it. It does, and not like a shitload of drops, but just enough on the top that it makes my ink thin. And suddenly, my ink is a lot thinner, and it works for my hand speed. And now, of course, I have to mix it in, but it works for me. And I love the intensity, and I know how this ink lays, and I'm just comfortable with it. That is one of the most difficult parts of tattooing, is to find the ink that works for you and find ink that you're comfortable with. Now, another color that another brand I like to use is Intense. Now, Intense isn't, you know, the scale here isn't to show what's better or worse than anything else. I just use different things for, you know, different tattoos. Like, I do like to use some of Intense's, you know, reds and stuff. Mario's blue is a very, very nice, dark, rich navy blue. And it's just kind of okay. It's between thick and thin. You know, some of their inks are kind of thick, some of their inks are kind of thin. It's kind of, you know, in between. It's a little, you know, a little hard to say with that particular manner. But some of the inks from Intense are good, and I do like to use them. Now, if I want really, really rich, intense, very thick, hard color, I will, for like some of the arcane or highlighted colors like pastels, I use Starbright. Starbright's pastels are excellent. They're teals, they're bubblegum pink, they're magentas, they are, and they're yellows and stuff. They are just second to none. These are really, really great colors. They're just, for the way that I tattoo, they are excellent. I love bubblegum pink. I love their hot pink. It's just the shit. It really is a great tattoo ink to use, and when you have it healed and you get to look at it, it really does hold up well, especially after even difficult healing. Now, Moms is a toss-up. A lot of people are controversial about Moms and Millenniums and all that shit because, you know, the recipe change and all that shit that went down, but Moms is a decent ink. It really is. I mean, it's not too thick, it's not too thin, but the ice blue lays good. The fleshy flesh is actually good for using stems and stuff, and if you are working on an olive skin person or you're doing a color portrait, the fleshy flesh does blend very easily with black and white, especially if you're trying to create cheek tones or tones for foreheads or upper brows or eyelids. Now, a lot of you guys know that I have a passion for Japanese work, and when I do Japanese work, I use Kurosumi. Kurosumi colors are difficult to lay if you don't know what you are doing, but they are some of the best out there if you are going to be doing any kind of Japanese work. I use their reds, their purples, like this right here, their magenta and their lavender are just excellent. They have great greens. Some of the best greens in the industry come from Kurosumi. Kurosumi's Green Apple Blossom and their brighter greens they're excellent lays. They lay very easy. They lay very smooth. That's a big secret to some of my work. Is people ask me how I get my greens in so nice and so gorgeous when I put in my roses or anything traditional or anything Japanese when I'm doing like dragons or anything, or I'm doing phoenixes. And the trick is to use Kurosumi greens. They are just beautiful, beautiful, bright, rich greens. Now, before I move on to some of the other stuff, I'm going to explain the black that I use. A lot of people don't really know why I use such a thin black, but it's because I've got such a fast fucking hand speed. Dynamic black is the only black that works for me because of how thin it is. It's so fucking dark. This ink is like Wesley Snipes in the tanning salon, but it's thin. It's so thin. It's like water. Like if I actually take some of it here and I put it into this red, it's kind of scary to see just how thin this ink actually is. I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to, open it too far here because it's very messy and it spills. You see right there, that was like water, the way that just went in. It is so dark. Now, another thing about it is that it's very, very thin. I love the thinness of it because it allows me to work fast. The trick to my portraits, the secret to my portrait work is dynamic black. If you guys want to know how I get it in, my gray wash in soft and smooth and clean, this black right here is the way to go. Now, what's really great is Dynamics white is just as thin as their black. That's why I love it, because I can get it in a single pass. I can get this white in like it's just like nothing, man. It's just beautiful how thin it is. Watch, when you see this, a lot of people don't see. That's like water. It is literally like water, the way it runs and the consistency of it. You get to see it. It's so thin. But it's amazing. Look how thin it is. It's actually it's so much less dense than the rest of the ink than it's staying on the top of the cap. So those are just my favorite inks to use. It doesn't mean that these are going to work for you perfectly or essentially, but it does mean that they will help you. Now, something I need to address before you guys end up going out and buying a bunch of ink or switching your game up or doing anything else is I need to address inks like these, like Iron Butterfly or this fake Millennium's Moms. Do not buy ink off fucking eBay unless you are a very skilled artist and you can spot a fake from a mile away and you know it's going to be fake, or unless they really guarantee that your ink is going to be real with, an actual warranty. Do not buy ink off eBay or Amazon. A lot of you guys have an issue with doing this. You got to understand that these are just garbage inks. Some of these inks actually have the stuff that's the stuff inside of it is that shit that comes out of glow sticks, man. And you're putting that in people's skin. You could kill somebody with that. That shit's toxic. So ask yourself, is this the right ink for me? Am I using the right stuff? That's such a big deal. And if you buy a bottle of ink and it's like $4 for it, and it's like a good brand like bubblegum, like fucking bubblegum pink from Starbite or something, and it's like a 2 ounce, and you only had to pay like $4 for it, and it's coming from China. Yeah, you got ripped off. You're gonna damage somebody's skin with it. China is knocking off inks from the best tattoo or tattoo ink makers and pigment makers out there. They're doing it like crazy. They're doing it like it's going out of style right now. It's a bigger problem than the tattoo machine knockoff thing that's going on right now, where they're making a lot of rotaries, but the big thing they're doing is they're making a ton of fucking knockoff tattoo inks, and no one knows what the fuck is good to use because they don't know what's real and what's not. So you got to buy from official vendors only. Okay? Now, outside of any of this stuff, to help with your color laying or your color itself, I'm going to explain to some of you guys right now, if you're a tattoo artist, whether you're in a shop or at a home, especially if you're in a fucking shop, you need to understand the color wheel. The color wheel is something used in painting and general, just basic art, but you need to understand the color wheel, the primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors, the relationships between each color on the color wheel, which colors accent another, which colors complement another, which colors clash with one another. You need to know that off the top of your fucking head. if you are a tattoo artist. If you're going to be tattooing, you're going to be working on someone's skin, you cannot sit there and pretend you know what you're doing and then pair two shitty colors together and go, oh, hey, sorry about that, man. I just picked a couple of bad colors when I did your work. Didn't mean to do that. You can't do that, okay? Thanks for watching, guys. This is Johnny Galt with Iron Lotus Tattoo in Boulder, Colorado. Remember to like, rate, subscribe. You guys can add me on Facebook. Just search for Johnny Galt. And if you guys need any help, go ahead and send me some messages. I'm willing to help anybody with their tattooing style or any kind of issues they may be having. Thanks for watching, guys.